Has the rabbinate abandoned Israel? Well, before I get into the question, I just want to mention something. Prime Minister Netanyahu was at the UN and at the 92nd Street Y in New York this past week. Gave brilliant lectures, and I just want to roughly summarize what he said at the 92nd Street Y. He said the world is telling three lies about Israel, three huge lies, and they have to be stopped. Number one, coming from certain Muslim quarters like Hamas and Iran, that the Holocaust didn't occur. 6.25 million Jews die, tens of millions of other people die, and they deny the Holocaust happened, that there wasn't a concerted effort by Germany and Europe to kill Jews. That's what's being said by Hamas and by the Iranian president. Lie number two, the Jews were the aggressors in the Middle East conflict. That is such a lie. First of all, in 1947, when the British pulled out, the Arabs accepted the UN mandate. It was the 5 Arab armies surrounding Israel that attacked Israel. Israel just wanted peace. And then when I was a kid in 1967, when I was 11 years old, I remember hearing Abdel Nasser, the dictator of Egypt at the time, pounding away how he was going to destroy every Jew in Israel and drive Israel into the sea. Then in 1973, the Jews are in their synagogues in Yom Kippur and they're attacked in a surprise attack. The missiles from Hezbollah, the missiles from Gaza, from Hamas when Israel pulled out. The Jordanians taking over the old city of Jerusalem and using the synagogues as horse stables. I mean, who was the aggressor here? All Israel wants to do is live in peace. It's given back the whole Sinai to Egypt. It offered Gaza to anybody who would take it. It offered 98% of the West Bank to Arafat, and he started Intifada. Israel's not the aggressor. And then third lies that Israel are colonialists. I mean, read the Bible. Muslims supposed to consider the Hebrew Bible a holy book. The whole Bible is 2,000 years of Jewish history in the land of Israel. And Jerusalem's mentioned almost 700 times in the Hebrew Bible, not once in the whole Quran. So how can you say with a straight face that Jews are colonialists? If you know our prayer book, every day for thousands of years, we pray many times a day to go back to Jerusalem to be restored. And Jews never left. Prime Minister Netanyahu has a 2,700-year-old ring in his office that has the name Netanyahu on it, from some Jew who lived there 2,700 years ago. But my big problem is the American Rabbinate. Now, this is anecdotal, but first of all, we have the head of the Reform Rabbinate in Chicago who got her colleagues to sign this thing endorsing Obama's demand that Israel stop settlements. They're not settlements, they're suburbs of Jerusalem. And there are hundreds of thousands of people in those places. Now, some there are illegal, and Israel's taken them down, but that's all to be negotiated. So that's bad enough. But then, in the most serious crisis facing Israel, these threatened Iranian nukes, did rabbis talk about Israel on the high holidays? I want to ask you that. Did your rabbi? I have friends who went to Reform synagogues. They told me that they did not hear one word about Israel, not about the horrible Goldstone report, about the lies about Gaza. They didn't hear about Iran and the nuclear threat. Nothing. Now, I don't know if that's true about all the synagogues, but several of them mentioned that to me. And one said the only thing that was a couple of sentences about buy Israel bonds, not one word about the threats facing Israel. And then to make it worse, there's a Reconstructionist rabbi near us who put an op-ed article in the Chicago Tribune, Erev Yom Kippur, saying that the main thing that Jews should be doing on Yom Kippur is beating our breasts about how horrible Israel is in the Goldstone report about Gaza. Complete lies. That's the same guy who commemorates Nakba Day. Instead of Israel Independence Day, he mourns about the birth of Israel with some Arab friends of his. And he also put on his blog that he went to Iran. There's a picture of him with Khomeini, not with any prime minister of Israel, but Khomeini. And then he also talks about how he's not going to get involved in hair splitting about what the president of Iran means when he says he wants to wipe Israel off the face of the map. Not get involved in hair splitting. Now, I'm not saying this is all Reconstructionist rabbis, but I want to know. If you go to a Reform synagogue or a Reconstructionist synagogue, did your rabbi talk about Israel? Did he talk about the threat of Iran? Now, and I can't say that all conservative rabbis do either. I heard that one rabbi didn't talk about Israel at all on the holidays. I don't know. But most conservative rabbis I know did. Most gave a third of their sermons about it and mentioned Israel in every service. And the Rabbinical Assembly exhorted us to read a letter from the Israeli ambassador to talk about Israel, about Iran, about Gaza on the high holidays. Now, if you care about Israel, the main message the Jews hear is too late for this high holidays, but it's not too late for sermons on Shabbat and rabbis' columns. Pressure your rabbi. I've been a rabbi 28 years. I know what it's like. Pressure your rabbi. Be in his face or her face saying you want to hear about Israel. You want to hear about the threat about Israel. You consider it his duty to do it. Do it in a nice way, but do it. And keep the pressure up. And get all your friends who are at all concerned about Israel's security to talk about it. To say your rabbi, you expect that to be high on the agenda. Because there's plenty of Jews probably who just prefer to play golf, go out to lunch and not be bothered with the nuclear threat hanging over 6 million Jews. But to whatever extent, we can't allow the American Rabbinate to be placid and in the face of the horrible situation that Israel faces. And thank God for our evangelical Christian friends who are on the front lines, always pounding away at the administration to support Israel. And those missiles that Israel has now for self-defense might as well have a congressman named Mark Kirk's name on him. He, one great non-Jewish congressman, has done so much, plus others in the Congress and the House, to make sure Israel has some means of defending itself. But my main point is to make sure your rabbi speaks up about Israel and talks about how important it is to defend Israel and how moral Israel is, the most moral country fighting, besides the United States probably, defending itself in a very tough situation. Shalom.